Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Taber Town Council regular scheduled meeting for February 23rd, 2026. Just for council's awareness, administration has asked, has been made aware of through our KPMG auditors requesting an extension for a reporting deadline, and they're not able to meet and looking for that extension. So we'll in need of asking for a motion to add to 710 auditor extension. And that'll reflect in the motion as well. So I'll call the meeting to order and ask for adoption agenda as amended. Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make the motion that the agenda is adopted as amended to include the addition of agenda item 710, auditor extension discussion.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And just for the record, Councillor Antonik is unable to attend today's meeting. On to item 3, public hearings. There are none. Item 4, adoption minutes. Item 4.1, minutes of regular council meeting February 9th, 2026. Mr. Thibault.
There are no adjustments to the minutes. Back to council.
All right. Thank you. Anything arising? I'm prepared to make that motion. Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on February 9th, 2026 as presented.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Business arising from the minutes. There are none. Bylaws item 6.1, bylaw 72026, land use bylaw text amendment. Mr. Thibault.
We'll have Ms. Hillary Jansen come up and give that explanation. Some of this is due to our changing with the MPC and how we handle that, and a few other amendments in there. So, Hillary.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Jansen, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. So I'm bringing forward to you today for first reading bylaw 7-2026, which is a text amendment to the land use bylaw to address some changes that have been made with regards to council decisions over the last number of months, and some areas that we thought could be amended just for further clarity. Just to run through what those changes are, they are included in the package as kind of a replace and like a replacement type, because there is a lot of changes for us to go through. But I will answer any questions as they come up. So the first thing was with regards to the Municipal Planning Commission. As council's aware, the Municipal Planning Commission was decommissioned in the beginning of January of this year. So the land use bylaw had to be updated in order to rationalize the land use bylaw to that particular decision. So most of what's been noted in the changes are with regards to the Municipal Planning Commission. There was also updates to the development permitting notification and decision processes, which was also something that came out of the dissolution of the Municipal Planning Commission to make our our notification and decision-making processes more transparent to the public. So if you'll notice when you read through that, you'll see that we're sending out notices of decision or notices of application, as well as notices of decision to landowners. So there's a very open opportunity for people to send in their comments or concerns or support for any development, discretionary use development within the town. And we've seen that already, so I think it's working well. We've also removed the home occupation one from being exempt from development permits. This came out of when we were discussing the budget and the schedule of fees. It was determined that there is enough processes in place where we had to we couldn't exempt them. We needed a process to be able to review and evaluate those applications. So they're no longer exempt. And the addition of the use of for net density, this has come up when we've looked at higher density developments within the town. There was no definition, and so it was decided that we should have something a bit clearer. And so that's been added to the definition section. And then there's just some clerical adjustments with regards to those amendments, so changing numbering and things of that nature. So with that, we are requesting that council provide first reading of the bylaw so that we can proceed with the public hearing and advertising of the public hearing that would come up in the probably here in March. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anything arising? Prepared to make that motion requirement? Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I was asking you something from before, but I see that you had replaced section and then replaced with, so I just didn't read the titles. So sorry about that. And I'd be prepared to make the motion.
All right.
That council give first reading to bylaw 7-2026 to amend land use bylaw 13-2020.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Action items, item 7.1, policy renewal development security. Mr. Tebow.
So this is up for its 3-year annual renewal. There's a couple of changes that were mentioned in the background. And Hillary is here if there's any questions that might arise out of that. But back over to council.
All right. Thank you. Any questions arising here? Councilor Redford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no questions. I'm just ready to make the motion.
All right.
The council adopts the development security policy PLN-4 as presented.
All right. Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.2, key to the town award policy. Mr. Tebow.
Again, this one is up for its 3-year renewal. There was no changes recommended to this policy. And just a note in the background that I think the policy was instituted because of a few people back in maybe 2017. And it hasn't been utilized since, but it is up for its 3-year renewal, so that's why it's in front of council.
All right. Thank you. We're all right with that. So prepared to make that motion. Councilor Wiebe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion that council approves the key to the town award policy C-7 as presented.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.3, AI acceptable use policy. Mr. Tebow.
So we'll get Mr. Rob Osmond to help us walk through this one. So the town did not have an AI policy, and it was time that we put one into place. We're probably a little behind the curve with most other places having AI policies around. So this is our first crack at that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council. So we have before you tonight the AI acceptable use policy. Artificial intelligence systems can be used to improve efficiency, assist data analysis, support communications, and enhance service delivery in a municipal environment. But in order for us to do that in a safe, responsible, and accountable way, there needs to be some regulation around how we do that. This policy provides that regulation. In order for us to engage with AI systems to support the work we do for the town, there are a couple of key pieces that our use must follow legislation, serve the public interest, maintain transparency, protect privacy, and ensure accountability. So that's the central piece that this policy is centered around. And then it provides additional information about how we can use some things. Because there are things like making sure that we don't input private confidential information into a public AI tool. What tools we will use and which types we won't. What things we can do and what things we won't do with AI. In general, the AI is a really strong tool, but it is not designed to replace the people. It's a tool that we use to do our jobs better. Very valuable, and this guidance is really important because it gives us the opportunity to really engage with one of the most powerful tools we have out there at the moment. So if you have any questions, I will do my best.
All right. Thank you. Anything arising? All right. So prepared to make that motion. Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council approves policy CS-IT-11 AI acceptable use policy as presented.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.4, IT cybersecurity training. Mr. Tebow.
So there's an obligation of administration to report out to council when we expend funds in this fashion, an emergency expenditure that was not previously approved. So I had Rob and through IT come to me and ask about this expenditure, and it was explained to me, and I thought, okay, yep, we probably don't want to be exposed like that, and so this took place. So this is the report out of that, and I'll hand it over to Rob to provide a little more context.
All right, thank you. Rob?
Thank you. The Town of Tabor organization has had for a while now a priority around developing more robust cybersecurity systems. We had in 2025 engaged a couple of consultants that had helped us get started on that work. This training, though, is a key component to our cybersecurity response and planning. And the training is actually only offered at 2 times during the year, right at the beginning and right at the end. And so if we hadn't engaged to move ahead with getting the registration done for this startup, we would have essentially gone the whole year without having anybody in the organization who had been able to complete the training. So rather than risk having the cybersecurity program set back almost a full calendar year, we had come to Darren looking to have this approved. So the total cost of the training, $27,300. And the recommendation tonight is that as council approves that emergency expenditure or ratifies that emergency expenditure, that we would then add it to the 2026 operating budget.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen?
There hasn't been too many questions, so I'll throw one your way. I was just wondering how many personnel then took in this training. Was it the whole organization or was it key individuals in our IT department?
So this particular training is key IT personnel training. So there's a leadership course and analyst course. And so we have one person in each stream for this money.
Okay. And I'd be prepared to make the motion.
Sure. You bet.
That council approves the cybersecurity training initiative cost of $27,300 to be added to the 2026 operations budget.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.5, 2025 capital projects carry forward. Mr. Tebow.
Again, we'll have Rob speak to this one. So every year we come forward with the capital projects that are completed, ones that need to be carried forward, some for council's information, some actually required to get the carry forward into the 2026 budget. So I'll hand it over to Rob, and then we can take questions after.
All right, thank you. Rob, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So there's a couple of components to this reporting. So our capital projects, of course, once they're approved by council, they continue until they're done, but we want to make sure that council's informed about what's being carried forward. But we did have a couple of projects, one in particular, I just want to make sure I get the name right. The stormwater implementation study. The grant application had been approved by council, but we didn't yet have a motion from council approving the capital budget project as a capital project. And so it's included in the carry forwards we have from the 2025 capital. The total carry forward project list is $7,653,000. And that's a series of projects, a couple of older ones dating back to 2022, but the vast majority of them dating from 25. Then we have a highlight of our completed project lists. We do have a handful of projects that are trending, have completed over the budget approved by council. What we wanted to highlight with these projects is that although in some cases we did go over budget, the scope of the project was still maintained in integrity to the project. And so what that means, if we look, for example, at the 2025 project for the utility trailer, it had a budget of $25,000 and it was overspent by $190,177. the trailer that was identified in that project is exactly the trailer we bought. It just was a little more expensive than we assumed. So the scope itself hasn't changed. What we purchased was what council approved for purchase. There were just some price differences. I think another notable one might be the purchase of the Meadows Lot 64 mobile home. That project was in at $90,000 and went over budget by $18,000. What occurred in that project was after the project was approved, we became aware of some agreements with the development partner that there were some additional costs that they had originally covered. And so to purchase that lot, we also had to take care of those additional costs that were taken care of by the development partner. So although there are a handful, the only ones that, so if we're looking at the list, all of the ones highlighted in yellow are within the original scope. And the only two that are different, there's two projects which were vehicle replacements. They're the one that's over by 8,892 and 8,041. Both of those were purchased as part of or funded with LGFF grant. And so that overage can actually be funded through the LGFF grant. So the recommendations that we have cover off the carry forwards, the over budget amounts, as well as cancellation of 4 projects that we had on the capital project list. These were addressed during our capital budget deliberations, but we don't actually have a motion removing them from the capital plan. So that's the third component of the recommendation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you. Any questions whatsoever? All right, seeing none, so we're prepared to make that motion. Counselor Sorensen.
So would you like the recommendations all in one, or would you like each individual one as a motion?
We like to read each one individually and vote on it individually, and then, so the same person could read all 3, but we'd like them voted on in between each number.
Okay, so I'll make the first motion. Sure. The council approves the list of 2025 capital projects in the amount of $7,653,717.35 to be carried forward to the 2026.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Unanimously, thank you. And the second required motion. Councilor
Dan.
Rutherford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion that council approves the over budget amounts totaling $31,082.82 to be funded from capital reserves.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And the third required motion. Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council affirms the cancellation of the following 4 projects: Transfer Station Road Rehab, Tabor Park Access Road Rehab, streetlight upgrades added to operating, and WTP HMI relocate completed and operating.
All right, thank you. Councilor Sparks, you had a question? You're good? Okay, thank you. Motion on the table. Oh, sorry, you had a question?
I do have a question. I just don't know what WTP HMI relocate is, if that
Oh, sure.
could just be discussed, please.
So WTP is shorthand for water treatment plant, and HMI is one that I will need assistance with, but there might be somebody in the room.
So that's the human interface between the meter and the plant operations area.
Okay, makes sense now. Thank you. All right, motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Excuse me, on to item 7, what's this information for council, Mr. Tebow?
Okay, so item number 1, this is the Tabor Police Commission, who likes to bring forward their monthly meetings to us, not in the form of a department report, but in this information item. And I think Councillor Sorensen, you had asked about this one in the past, and so this is it happening. So I couldn't really answer much in the way of questions, but I guess it's just information. And then We thought maybe council might be interested in an update for the community center. So I thought I'd bring Chris up and he'd give us a bit of a spiel outside of what's already there on the screen. If there were any particular questions around that, we could start with that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. So in general, work on the asbestos abatement portion of initial asbestos abatements in Zone 1 and Zone 2. So those are the low-risk zones, which comprise Zone 1 is essentially the auditorium and ancillary spaces around it, outside of the rink. And Zone 2 is the chamber space, museum space, again, another administrative space just on the other side of the front part of the rink. We are unrelated to the actual event. We are doing a bunch of work to recertify the natural gas distribution system. So when we shut the facility down, we shut all that off. To re-energize, we're moving through the initial legs and then the distribution. And because the building is as old as it is, we're a little bit surprised, but that there are some minor natural gas leaks. And so we're in the process of repairing the piping, and then we have to upgrade the regulators and some PRVs and some other things on the actual rooftop units. So that's going well. We have the primary and secondary legs tested, but we don't yet have permanent heat on in those sections of the building, and we need that so that we can bring the plumbing back online and start the cleanup. But we still anticipate March 1 for the auditorium as per the target goals, and then the crew will move from Zone 1 and getting that operational into Zone 2, and we should be probably about mid-March bringing that online for those users. And then that leaves the change rooms in the rink, which are another section which is low risk. And so we'll use VHL, which we used in Zone 1 and Zone 2. We'll use them in Zone 3. So that work is being set up now. It's a little bit bigger area, and of course it was directly in the area compromised by the actual blast and the distribution of the asbestos-related containing materials in the vermiculite insulation in the wall that came down. And then our next step will be to go to work on the high-risk areas, which is basically the ice surfaces, all three, in that area of the building and facility. And so that will start probably in 2 or 3 weeks or so. We have it's a little bit more complex because the electrical system was compromised in the building, and basically all components suffered a little bit of damage. So we're basically on track. Our next target is Versette and and getting the large ice operational for them, which occurs in August. And so we should, within a month, we'll know whether we can make that date or not. As we'll get that work underway, and we'll have a full understanding of what that is. The abatement work is the decommissioning of and completing the demolition of some of the walls. And that'll allow us to bring our consultants into the building to do a full building structural review and make sure we know the building isn't set to collapse. We knew that at the date of the event. We had our initial inspection done, but we need to do a detailed follow-up inspection of all the structural components to make sure they weren't damaged and things weren't shifting around. And then we'll have a really good understanding of what the complete scope of work is for the building. And then from that will come, like I mentioned, the schedule and also budget.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chris. Any other questions? All right. Thank you for that update. Appreciate that. All right, let's get that covered, Mr. Devo.
Yep, that's everything under information.
Okay. No motion required on that. All right, on to item 7.7, operational highlights. for the department reports. I'll go through those individuals. If you have any questions, please advise. Starting with economic development. CAO highlights. Recreational highlights. Planning and development. Water and wastewater. Public Works highlights. Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to administration. I saw that the mentioned removal of the cart collection system in the meadows. Could I have an explanation about why it was removed?
All right, thank you.
Yes, you could. Chris, are you able to speak to that? Or yeah, okay.
Thank you, Councillor Firth, through Mayor and Council. So the initial setup, the concept going into the, before we had any homes out there, was to do centralized collection, so the larger bins. When the first elements of the meadows were developed, we actually put out individual carts because the development really wasn't set up for it. With the accommodation of multi-door units, the use of the individual carts now become a problem because we don't have sidewalks and curbs and gutters to keep the costs down. We just have the roadways. And so what we're going to do is go back to the original concept of centralized collection for that development. So we're working in coordination with our partner, Douglas Bergen, and the Condo Association, soon to be, to set those, find locations for that and set those areas up. And I believe communication has taken place to the residents. And so we're just in the process of doing the conversion now.
All right, thank you. Councilor Sorensen.
Sorry, Chris. I see that there was a water main repair on 52nd Ave and 50th Street. Is this an area of concern? Should this be a priority in us with our projects moving forward?
So yes, we actually had two. A leak didn't make it into this report, but there was a subsequent leak about 10 days later on the same section. So that's one of the remaining sections of cast. And so we had the first one was the bell separated, so the cast iron pipe is in poor condition. We repaired that, and then we came back 10 days later to find that the bottom of the pipe had split, essentially 10 feet away. But the pipe is all in the same condition. So that is one of the areas that we prioritize or looked at prioritizing, just like we did south of the highway. We've done the major replacements were down there, and now we're down to these smaller sections that are giving us the same kinds of problems. So you'll see likely in next year, in the next year's capital, there'll be a truncated version of 48th and 45th Street that you saw in the previous 2 years to go and get those pieces of cast as well.
All right. Anything else? Okay, thank you. On to fire department highlights. Corporate services highlights. All right. No other questions? Okay. No motion required there. Moving on to item 7.8, Mayor and Council reports. Councilor Sparks, you start us off, please.
Nothing out of the ordinary to report, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Redford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the meetings I was able to attend and just kind of mourning the loss of the gold medals by the women's and the men's Olympics. But
Thanks for bringing it up.
All right, yeah, thank you. Councilor Wiebe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended every meeting possible. I attended the Economic Development for Elected Officials training hosted by the MD of Tabor, the Star Theater Tour, Recreation 101 training, and the Elected Officials Emergency Management training.
All right, thank you. Councilor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended a tour of the Star on 54 and an FCSS meeting. FCSS right now has Cheers to Volunteers, which is volunteer awards. And people can nominate until Friday, March 13th in the categories of youth, group, or individual volunteers. And if anyone would like to nominate somebody from our community or surrounding communities, it's fcss.ca. I also attended the Police Commission meeting and emergency management training, and I attended Green Shirt Day at the rink along with Mr. Mayor and Reeve Tamaramianaga, as well as organ and tissue donors and recipients at the Vauxhall rink. And just want to remind everybody that April 7th is Green Shirt Day. So wear a green shirt in support of organ and tissue donation. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have a personal leave, so I did miss a few meetings, but I'm back now and willing to attend whatever I can.
All right, thank you. And for myself, I did also attend the Star Theatre Council tour, as well as the annual Tabor Pro-Life Dinner event. I attended the Coaldale Chamber of Commerce Annual Awards Night, as well as the Night to Shine annual event at the Parallel Church location. I also attended the annual AA Regional Dinner event, as well as the Council Emergency Management Orientation Training. I did attend the Japanese Council General Emperor's Birthday annual celebration event in Calgary. I did also attend the annual Green Shirt Day along with Councillor Firth and other community members at the Vauxhall Arena. And that would be my report. Any other questions arising? All right, no motion required. And item 7.9, notice of motion or standing items. Nothing come to light, Mr. Tebow?
Nothing has come to administration.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else? All right, thank you. On to item 7.10, the auditor extension request, Mr. Tebow.
So we'll have Mr. Rob Osmond come back up. Apologies for having to add it last minute to the agenda for council.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Council. The reason this was added last minute was that the auditors, KPMG, reached out to me. They had some staffing changes earlier in the audit season, and they had made some arrangements to rebalance things so that all the dates would click. Unfortunately, one of the auditing partners suffered an injury last week, and they are now scrambling because they're not sure they're going to be able to hit all of those deadlines. Because we have a statutory filing deadline for financial information returns from municipal affairs, it is scheduled for May 1st. There is a process to request an extension from the minister. And in order for us to be able to complete that process, we need a motion from council directing us to make that application. So the recommendation is simply that council directs administration to make application to extend the deadline. I have requested an additional I'm suggesting that we request an additional 2 months, although KPMG at this point is confident that they will be able to get it done in 1 month with a 1 month extension. It's not the kind of thing you want to come back at a second time. So.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Right, Councillor Sorensen?
Is that all right? So is it fairly common? Like, do you think that there's a problem with us asking for this extension?
No, there's no problem. They are quite common. A couple of years ago, Municipal Affairs did change the process for requesting extensions because they had some concerns about municipalities that weren't as stuck as their applications might have implied. They did roll out a system of 5 or 6 criteria that would have to be met for an extension to be approved. But the status here is that if our auditors are unable to meet the deadline, There's no way for us to bring a different auditor in that would be able to meet the deadline at this point. The knowledge of handling the file, as well as scheduling availability would just, there's no way for us to get out. So we'll make the application to the minister based on the legislative framework that they've set up. They may or may not grant the extension, but we will have done all the legislative things we needed to do to make sure everybody is informed about why we are doing what we're doing. So.
All right, Councillor Sparks.
Yes, Mayor Prokop, through to Rob. Now, is KPMG also going to be formulating a letter and send to the minister to let the minister know that this is not a Town of Taber caused issue, that it's a KPMG caused issue? And because I would hate for the minister to think that the Town of Taber is tardy in getting their information there. And so I would hope that KPMG themselves is going to send a letter to Municipal Affairs letting them know that what the real deal is here.
So it's a fair question. The answer is KPMG doesn't send a letter to the minister, but our letter to the minister will include a full explanation of why we're in the situation we're in. And I will outline that the issue is a staffing issue with the auditor. And so it will be clear to the minister when they review the application for extension.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
I'm just prepared to make a motion. The council direct administration to make application to the Minister of Municipal Affairs for an extension of the filing financial report deadline for the year ending December 31st, 2025 for June 30th, 2026.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, Mr. Tebow, no media inquiries. We have no delegations. No media inquiries.
There are none.
All right. Are we in shape for our meal break? Here? Not quite yet? Okay. All right, with that, I just asked to move into closed session for our discussion items there. Please. Motion on the table. All in favor?